Dear chess friends, blundering is simply part of chess. I make many blunders in my own games. Probably you made also many blunders in your own games, but believe me or not, even world champions make huge blunders in their own games. Sometimes I think we're a little bit harsh on ourselves because, especially under pressure, everyone is cracking, everyone is making mistakes. So blundering is just another an amazing part, I think, of the beautiful chess game that we all love, because blundering is simply a progress that you can maybe improve your own games, but still, even if you improve, sometimes you still blunder because it's just an important element of the game. So I found a beautiful and amazing game that I think could cheer you up a little bit if you have blundered recently. We have here an amazing game played by two former world champions, really a clash of the titans. We have here an amazing game played by Vladimir Kramnik against Anatoly Karpov, in which, believe me or not, Anatoly Karpov, the former world champion, the boa constrictor, the legend of the sport, the positional master, got destroyed in only 70 moves. Really wild stuff. Pay good attention. Maybe, as I said, if you've blundered recently, this game will cheer you up. So the game was played in the Open Catalan. The Open Catalan we have started recently here on my YouTube chess channel. Here's the link of our playlist. If you want to know more about the Catalan, please check out our other ideas that we have studied so far. We have started with the closed defense. Now we have started with the open defense. So here in the game, the Vladimir Kramnik opened with the move d4. Knight to f6 was played by Anatoly Karpov. Knight to f3 here by Vladimir Kramnik. e6, we have now the move c4, and after move d5 we have now the beautiful Catalan move g3. And now comes the open defense. We have d takes c4, which is of course an idea to simply capture the pawn, and then of course make somehow here some kind of a progress with this 4 versus 2 pawn majority. On the other hand, white relies on the central control with this 2 versus 1 pawn majority in the center of the board, supported by the bishop. Of course, white is hoping to get dynamic play in the center of the board. So bishop to g2, bishop to e7. This move is now different than the other studies that we have started recently. In our previous analysis, we have analyzed the bishop to b4 check line. Now we're in the so-called classical line, bishop to e7, because in this line, black is trying to keep the bishops on the board, is trying also to keep his chances here, maybe to even win the game, because when you trade off more pieces, then the game becomes more and more simplified. So here in the game, we have now kingside castling by Vladimir Kramnik, kingside castling also by Anatoly Karpov, and now queen to c2 here by Kramnik, trying of course to get his pawn back. And now we'll see this line, a6 with the preparation to play the move b5. Of course, we are not protecting immediately the pawn on c4, but black is relying when white takes out now the pawn on c4 to get an extra tempo against the queen, and then maybe later develop the light square bishop and compete against this annoying bishop here on g2. It's, I think, a good defensive idea here for sure. So now comes this idea, queen to c4, b5. You see the queen hits back, and now you have here this idea, bishop to b7. We're competing against now this beast on g2, and in my opinion, this is a solid line. In my opinion, black is already equalized the game for sure. But white has to now make a decision where to go with the dark square bishop. Everything is, I think, perfectly fine, especially except maybe the move bishop to e3, bishop to f5, bishop to g4, bishop to f4, pardon me, bishop to g5 is perfectly fine, bishop to d2 is also perfectly fine. So you can now really maybe deviate a little bit from your preparation. You don't have to even play the same moves. Here in the game, Vladimir Kramnik played an interesting move, bishop to d2, hoping maybe hoping maybe this line by black, bishop to e4, but now you can retreat to c1, and you're keeping still the c-file attack. You're not allowing here this pawn to be pushed on c5. Black would love now to play the move c5, getting rid of this backward pawn that's really stuck there on c7, trading off for the centralized pawn on, of white here on d4. So it's now the common plan in this types of position here for black. So now maybe black will play the move c6, maybe white will try a4, but now knight from b to d7, and then maybe something like rook to bx c5 is again simplifying the game here for black for sure. But now after move bishop to d2, Karpov deviates also a little bit from the standard line, plays now the move bishop to d6, which is not such a huge problem, but in some lines you could be endangered by some ideas of e4 and then e5, maybe knight to c3, e4, e5. You get maybe the fork against both of these pieces. This tactic should be also considered in this type of position. But now bishop to g5, really interesting choice by Kramnik. He said, okay, when the bishop was here on e7, then there was no pin against the queen. Now when you retreated with the bishop, when you played with the bishop once again, now there is again this beautiful pinning idea. So we have knight from b2 d7, knight from b2 d2, with the preparation, as I said, to play the move e4. We have now the move c5 by Anatoly Karpov, and now comes the tricky part. Now comes a dirty idea. It could be even an opening trap if here black doesn't react correctly, because now here Vladimir Kramnik plays an interesting choice, bishop to f6, and now you have to really be careful here. Knight to f6, for instance, is not so good. Knight to f6 leads, of course, in this line, d takes c5, you lost the pawn, so it's, I think, a messed up game. So you have to play here actually the move g takes f6. G takes f6 is the only move that's working here for black, because after something like d takes c5, now knight to c5 can happen, rook from a to c1, and now I think black is also solid. Black has a great bishop pair here in an open game. Of course, you have some structural weaknesses, you have some weaknesses in front of the king, but I think you can survive this position and maybe go really into a sharp tactical battle. But after move bishop to f6, Anatoly Karpov fell into an opening trap, played now the move queen to f6, and now here Vladimir Kramnik punished this move immediately. Maybe you can pause the video and win the game immediately here for white. It's, I think, an obvious tactic, but really crazy how even a world champion, a former world champion, can miss this kind of a move. So take your time, just think about this position a little bit more. Okay, this is a normal idea. This hop of the knight in order to liberate the long diagonal for the light square bishop, it's a thematic attack in the Catalan opening for white. Be always careful what you're doing with the black pieces. Expect always this move, knight to e5, with the liberation of the light square bishop. Now whatever you do, it's not so good. Of course, you have to first play bishop to g2. Knight takes d7 was played by, of course, now by Vladimir Kramnik, getting the fork against the rook and the queen. And now there are even some other games in the database that I found in which black retreated here to d8. I see only two winning games here for white. One is Robert Hübner against Holger Eng, and we have here Alejandro Franco Alonso against Juan Mario Gomez Esteban, in which in both cases white won the game. Even if you play queen to d8, still you haven't solved all of your positional problems, because look at this, knight to f8 is going to happen. So this wasn't played now in the original game here played by Kramnik and Karpov, but still look at this. This is also messed up, so messed up here for black. After bishop to f1, now we have first a check. After king to f8 here, we take, of course, here the bishop on f1. Now you can pick up the pawn, but now we have this idea, knight to f3, or we have immediately the check. You have to step back, we'll take out this one, the knight will come into the game, will compete on the c file. We have an extra pawn, so still a bad game here for black for sure, especially when the knight comes on e4. I think you can resign the game immediately. So this is not working. But in the game after move knight to d7, here Karpov played a different idea. Played now queen takes d4, we have king to g2, and after rook from f to d8, we have knight to f3, and in this position, believe it or not, in this position, Anatoly Karpov resigned, because you can maybe retreat, but then we, of course, get our knight back here to e5 or something. We can also maybe try knight to c5, b4, but this would be, of course, risky. Knight to e5, I think, solves all of the positional problems in white's position, and it's game over here for black. So crazy that former world champion fell into this trap. Knight takes d7. Look at this. This is the common tactical shot. Knight to e5. Black should have simply played, instead of this move, queen to f6 first. G takes f6. It seems strange that you have this kind of a pawn structure in front of the king, but at least you're continuing the game with a beautiful bishop pair. You can maybe hide with your king, maybe play something like rook to g8. f5 is also perfectly fine then afterwards. So in my opinion, that's the way to go. There are also some games in the database in this line. So one is also a beautiful drawish idea here for for black. I see also winning games for black, winning games for white, of course, but this is the way to go here for black for sure. So okay, I hope that you enjoyed this game. I really enjoyed it a lot because this thing can happen to us for sure. We will continue now with the classical variation of the classical line of the open defense of the Catalan opening, which is this line after move bishop to e7, not to go into this bishop to b4 lines. This will be now the next study, and then we'll analyze some ideas of a6, b5, and some more stuff. Knight to c6. We'll analyze all of these lines that I think very, very important in the Catalan opening. So, okay, I hope that you enjoyed the game. If you want to see more games from the Catalan opening, please check out our playlist. Here's the link of this beautiful, beautiful chess opening. And if you like this content, don't forget to subscribe to my channel. See you with some more videos, and want to say chess is the best, of course.